हमने कंप्यूटर पे करा है, कंप्यूटर पे हो गया है, हम फोन पे करके देखते हैं तो बता।
Welcome everyone. Ruchika, I can't see you. Where are you? And I'm unmeeting you, but I can't see your video.
Yes, I'm here.
I think I can see.
I don't know. Can you see me now?
There. I can see you there now.
Okay.
That's good. That's good. So we have is a larger number of audience today than as compared to any other day. And primarily it means that many people are more interested in yoga than knowing the basics of osteoarthritis. And but anyway, yoga is very important for osteoarthritis also, and I'm sure we'll have a wonderful session. So I welcome everyone who have joined this group. It's 7:30 exact, so we can possibly take another 2-3 minutes or 5 minutes up to for more people to join. We have a total of 31 participants so far, and I'm sure we'll have more. So this is to introduce Ruchika, who's a yoga, what should I say, a yoga expert or a yoga teacher. How should I say it, Ruchika? Why don't you introduce yourself?
Okay, Dr. Das, I'll just do like a quick introduction. So my name is Ruchika Patni, and I am a yoga teacher, like you rightly said. I have been practicing yoga therapy as well. So I've done my training from the Swami Vivekanand Yoga Anusandhan Samsthan, which is in Bangalore. So it's primarily a research university, which is doing some research in the field of yoga, which was set up about 50 years back. So yes, I am living in Singapore, like Dr. Das has already put up in the flyer. So I'm living in Singapore, and my vision is to see yoga therapy spread in this part of the world. Definitely in India it is there, but to see that in this part of the world also it is accepted. So yoga is being practiced, but in certain diseases, also yoga can be beneficial. So my vision is to see that it can spread. So that is what brings me here as well. So that's a quick introduction about myself.
Thank you, Ruchika. I met Ruchika online in one of the meetings in which my Malini Bhabi was talking, and she said that she was giving how to take online lectures and the problems of online lectures, and there she was to tell people that if you are tired and if you do anything when you do on computers, you become tired very easily. How to relax yourself? That is what I saw first, and I said, "This is wonderful." I immediately decided to request her to give us a talk on how yoga affects osteoarthritis, what to do for osteoarthritis yoga. I had reviewed literature about 5-10 years back. There were 2 papers in published literature on Medline, 2 papers on yoga, and both of them from India. They were both from the United States of America, and I remember they were both from Shoemaker. Maybe I'm wrong here, it was the Shoemaker who gave those papers. That is the only information that we had about osteoarthritis, that yoga being used in osteoarthritis. So when Ruchika agreed to participate and speak on this, I said, wonderful. She asked me what she's expected to speak. I said, first is tell what is the importance of yoga in osteoarthritis, and maybe then tell people how to go about doing this yoga. And she readily agreed. So now I would pass you on to Ruchika for presenting her topic. Ruchika, you would be needing possibly permission to share screen,
I
and I
have
have
that.
given you that permission.
Yes.
Okay. So now you can start presenting. Thank you very much, Ruchika.
Thank you very much, Dr. Das. So good evening, everyone. And thank you to the respected members of the Society of Osteoarthritis Research for inviting me to speak on yoga for osteoarthritis. So I'm very fortunate to get this opportunity to speak to such experienced and distinguished members of the society. So I'll put forward how the philosophy of yoga relates to osteoarthritis. So we will just view this from the perspective of yoga, so through the lenses of yoga over here during this session. So we all know what is arthritis. By definition, arthritis is the inflammation in the joints. And I don't think I needed to explain over here. So osteoarthritis is the degenerative joint disease. It is the aging of the joints. So it is commonly affecting the weight-bearing joints like the knees, hips, lumbar, or the cervical spine. Now, to understand any disease, we need to first understand what is the root cause of the problem. For a lot of the disease, the root cause of the problem is lifestyle, and lifestyle. Now, what do I mean by lifestyle? Lack of physical exercise, junk food, mental and emotional tensions, wrong sleeping timings. So what are some of the causes of osteoarthritis? I've tried to capture some of them and would love to learn more from the experts here. So sedentary lifestyle. So like what I mentioned before, lack of physical exercise. So today, our lives can be easily managed without any physical movements. Especially this has been proven during the COVID situation. We all are at home and we are not allowed to step out. So the movement is very little and it is completely restricted. The little movement that we had to travel to work has also become zero. So you all know that the health of the cartilage requires moderate degree of movement. Just like the muscles would become weak when we do not use them, the joints, when not moved, also becomes unhealthy and vulnerable to injuries. Hence, osteoarthritis is becoming a common problem of the sedentary lifestyle, of the modern life, of the technology. So the next cause is obesity. Now, this also increases the rate of joint damage due to the excess weight on the weight-bearing joints. Overuse of the joints, excessive or repeated injuries could cause early aging. Changes in the weight-bearing joints as the repair rate of the cartilage is very slow, leading to osteophyte formation and osteoarthritis. Other cause could be family tendency. And I am listing here stress as one of the causes, but let us review this in a little bit more detail in the next slide. Now, is osteoarthritis stress related? You all know probably better than me, but I'll just go through from the viewpoint of yoga again here. Now, osteoarthritis is a natural aging process. Just like our skin gets the wrinkles with age, there is graying of the hair. You see baldness happening with the age. But in the modern lifestyle, we see many of these processes are fastening up, leading to early graying, balding. Similarly, joints also are showing early aging changes. Now, stress induces early aging. The joints also being a part of the whole system would obviously reflect the changes of early aging in the form of chemical changes in the cartilage, followed by all the after effects of osteophyte, sorry, I think there's a screen, something is there. All the effects, after effects of the osteophyte formation and the deformities. Now, as the age advances, the rate of cell regeneration falls short of the rate at which the cell destruction is taking place. So a stressful lifestyle alters the internal environment for gene expression and the program in the gene that decides the rate of aging, which also gets disturbed. Hence, a rapid aging process due to stress is due to altered rate of cell destruction and regeneration. So now we have seen that the root cause of many diseases is lifestyle. What do we do? What is really causing this lifestyle? Lack of physical exercise. It is our mind. Junk food. It is the mind. We all know that fried food, fizzy drinks like Coca-Cola is not good. We know that these causes diseases, but we will still have it. Why? Because it is the mind. Emotional tensions, anger, fear, it is the mind. Therefore, what is the root cause of these problems? It is our own mind. In yoga, we call these psychosomatic diseases. Now, psycho means mind, soma means body. Now, these are diseases which manifest in the body because of the mind. So this is called a mind-body disease. I'm not saying that osteoarthritis is a psychosomatic disease, but some of the causes are lifestyle driven. So how do we move on having understood this? How do we control this mind? Can we just tell our mind, no mind, you're wrong, do not do this? Do not think this way, and it'll stop thinking? No. It is not so easy to handle the mind. So only if you slow down the breathing, then the mind will be slow. For this, pranayam is a practice which is very important. Now, this is one of the practices in yoga, but before moving on to this, let us understand the definition of yoga as per the ancient texts. Mana prashamana upayaha, which means yoga is the skillful technique to calm down the mind. Patanjali, a great rishi, named yoga in the Patanjali Yoga Sutra as Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha, which means yoga is a conscious process of gaining mastery over the mind. Now, another definition is Yujjate Anena Iti Yogaha. Yoga is to unite the mind and the body. Now, this happens through breathing. Breathing is the connection between the mind and the body. So now we have all understood what is yoga. At this point, I want to emphasize on what yoga is not. Yoga is not a physical movement. Now here in Singapore, I emphasize this especially because, coming from Singapore, most of the people understand yoga as a physical exercise. They want to sweat, they want to become thin, they want to look good, and hence they practice yoga. They want to take pictures, post on Facebook. We call these as Instagram yogis. But yoga is not about bending the body in any direction. It is a combination of mental attitude, breathing, and the body movement. It is the connection between the mind and the body through breathing. Now, this brings me to the next question. What is yoga therapy? So I introduced myself that I am a yoga therapist. What exactly does this mean? The integrated approach of yoga therapy provides the techniques to address the problems of the stressed, fast lifestyle. Now, in arthritis, what is happening? Again, from the perspective of yoga, there is locked up vega. Veg is speed, violence. There is swelling, there is inflammation, there is fighting that is going on. So what did the sages say? You open up the locked up vega. So now let us just assume a scenario that there is a swelling in the wrist joint. Again, I cannot show the knees because of the camera here. So we are looking at the wrist joint here. You move a little bit, and when you move, there is little pain. Now, when there is pain, you bring your mind and you focus on that painful spot. You concentrate your mind on that spot and then slow down and completely relax. Now, whenever there is a disease, we have to bring our mind to that and concentrate there and relax to release the locked up energy. Now, we call this as local prashamana or the sick organ prashamana. Now, you move the joint, feel the gentle pain, and then relax. Again, move the joint, feel the little pain, and relax. Now, but where is the mind at this point of time? It is very important here. Focus. If you're focusing completely on just the stretch and not the mind, it will be of no use. So you focus on the stretch, 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 and then relax. It is the relaxation phase that helps to heal and not really the stretching. So what is relaxation? Now, relaxation has been explained by Patanjali, in which he says, Prayatna, Shaitilya, Ananta, Samapatti Bhayam. Now, this is again from the yogic texts. So this means relax in the final posture. Tune your mind to infinity to maintain the posture with ease and with comfort. Now, this is a subtle tool that promotes a healthy blood flow to the cartilage, especially when we are talking in the case of osteoarthritis. Now, before I move on to the techniques of yoga therapy for osteoarthritis, let us understand our body as it has been explained in the yogic texts. So in the Taittiriya Upanishad, body has been explained as having 5 layers. Now, these are called the Pancha Koshas, or the 5 facets of a personality. Now, these are Annamaya Kosha, which is the physical body, Pranamaya Kosha, the vital energy body, Manomaya Kosha, which is the mind body, Vijnanmaya Kosha, which is the knowledge body, and Anandamaya Kosha, which is the bliss or the divine body. Now, let us discuss these layers a little bit in detail. We'll certainly be coming to the practices soon after that. So let me start with the outermost layer, which is the Annamaya Kosha. Now, Anna means food. We all know this. Hence, this represents the food body or the physical body. To maintain this body, in the case of osteoarthritis, the practices are joints loosening, Shakti Vikasika practices, yoga asanas, which we will go through later on in the presentation. It also includes proper diet, cleansing techniques, which we call kriyas. Now, these help to reduce the stiffness of the joints, helps to remove the muscle fatigue, improves the flexibility, helps in strengthening the muscles around the joint. So now, before moving on to the next layer, let me ask you all to think. How many times do we breathe in a day? Just think to yourself, do we breathe 1,000 times, 2,000 times? So we breathe about 20,000 times in a day. Just want to emphasize the importance of breathing. We eat 3 times a day, or just maybe a few more times in a day, or we think about it all the time. But as we breathe 20,000 times a day, do we really think about our breath? So this is bringing me to the next layer, which is the Pranamaya Kosha. Prana means life or the vital force. It is the vital force because as long as there is prana, we are alive. Now, why is this important? Again, let me ask you a question. How does a dog breathe? Fast or slow? And if you all know the answer, How many times does a dog breathe in a minute? Yeah, it'll be good to get the answers on the chat box. It'll be really nice to see that. So dog breathes fast. We all know that. It breathes about 30 to 40 breaths per minute. Now, what about tortoise? Does it breathe fast or slow? And how many breaths does it take per minute? Tortoise breathes very slowly. And it takes about 2 to 3 breaths per minute. Now, we all know the dog lives about 10 to 15 years, whereas a tortoise lives about 300 years. So you see, the slower you breathe, the longer you live. This is in our nature. So let us do an experiment now. Bring your index finger and place it underneath your nose. I mean, you all can participate in this. It's just a simple thing. Now take a deep breath in and breathe out. Now maybe you can put your answers in the chat box. Who is breathing out from your right nostril and who's breathing out from your left nostril? Now there is no right and wrong answer, so feel free to just put your answers here. So you all are actually breathing from both the nostrils. Just that one nostril is more active at one time during the day. The right side is called the Surya. The left side is called Chandra, sun and the moon. So depending upon the time of the day, the body temperature, depending upon climate, depending upon what you eat, this keeps changing. Hence, it is very important to regulate and balance the prana through pranayama and the advanced techniques to regularize and slow down the breathing, which also helps to reduce the stress. Now, this is the layer which connects the Annamaya Kosha, which is the physical body, to the next layer, which is the Manomaya Kosha, which is the mind body. Man means mind and is one of the most important layers in the body. Now, as discussed before, most of the diseases are the psychosomatic diseases. It is manifesting in the mind. What we have today is not a mind, but we call this as a monkey mind. Now, why do we call this as a monkey mind? Because it is jumping all the time from one place to the other. So let's do an exercise here together. I would request you all to sit still and sit upright. Close your eyes. So we'll do it together with you. And just focus on your breath. Take deep inhalations and deep exhalations for just say about 30 seconds. Okay. Hand to your heart. Now I want to ask you, how many of you had your complete concentration in your breath? And for how many of you, your mind at least wandered away once? How many of you were thinking, oh, why is she making me do this? And how many of you were thinking about dinner? Or when is this going to get over? So even in 30 seconds, if you see that we start thinking about our families, our food, the tensions, we can't keep our mind empty for 30 seconds. Hence, it is very important to work directly on the mind and slow down the mind. Now, we do these through the yogic practices of dharana, dhyan, devotional sessions, and through the advanced techniques like MSRT, MIRT, MEMT. Now, remember we said that Pranamaya Kosha is the connection between the Annamaya Kosha and the Manomaya Kosha. Why is this? Because to control the mind, breathing is extremely important. Next time you're angry or you're anxious, just close your mind and try and slow down your breath. Keep the focus on your breath and take deep inhalations and deep exhalations. The moment you slow down your breath, the mind will quieten down. It is not possible to have an anxious mind when the breathing is slow. You can try this on your own next time you get anxious or agitated. Now, moving on to the next layer, it is called Vijnanmaya Kosha, which is the knowledge or the wisdom body. Now, this is a judge who decides what is wrong, what is right, based on life experiences, so that we can live a life of contentment, bliss, and happiness. Now, through yogic counseling, we can develop the right wisdom. Moving on to the next layer, it is called Anandamaya Kosha, the divine or the bliss body. Now you realize what is inside is important and not what is outside. You realize all that matters is our soul and nothing else. You realize all that matters is selfless service, the zeal to help everyone around you. And this can be achieved through karma yoga, action in relaxation, the art of working in relaxation. So a person is in a perfect health at a physical, mental, emotional, social, and spiritual level because of total inner mastery over the functioning of each of the other 4 koshas. So why do we have ill health? Now, when there is a lack of mastery of all these koshas, we have ill health. Now, integrated approach of yoga therapy hence provides the techniques to correct these imbalances at all the 5 koshas. So moving on to the next slide. Now, there is a research, and I think Dr. Das also spoke about a few other researches which have been done. I'm just listing one here. So this is a research which has been done, which is on the effects of an integrated approach of yoga therapy on functional disability, pain, flexibility in osteoarthritis of the knee joint, which was done by Dr. H.R. Nagendra, Dr. R. Nagratna, Dr. John Ebenezer, where it was concluded that the integrated approach of Hatha yoga therapy is better than therapeutic exercises as an adjunct to transcutaneous electrical stimulation and ultrasound treatment, improving pain of knee, walking time, tenderness, swelling, and knee disability in patients with osteoarthritis of the knees. Now, Swami Vivekanand Anusandhan Samsthan is an organization in India which has been doing research in the field of yoga for the last 50 years. Like I had mentioned before, it's a yoga university which has been established by Dr. H.R. Nagendra. He was a NASA scientist. He is the yoga guru of our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji. Now, due to his interest in the field of yoga, he decided to leave NASA to bring the best of the East with the best of the West by combining the modern scientific research to examine the efficacy of yoga in order to face the challenges of the modern era. So he has brought the ancient yoga practices in the modern scientific explanation. And there are several research publications which have been also published in the British Medical Journal. They also have an Arogyadham hospital, which is a 250-bedded hospital inpatient facility in Bangalore, which treats the patients through this integrated approach of yoga therapy, including Ayurveda, naturopathy, acupuncture, physiotherapy. And they give practices which are asanas, pranayams, kriyas, meditation, scientifically proven practices along with yogic counseling. Now, I have listed a few of the ailments that are treated at the Arogyadhama, and I'm not going to spend any more time on this. Now, this brings me to the practices, which is the module that has been developed. I think that's where everybody's kind of like interested in the topic. What are the practices for arthritis? These includes the joints loosening, Shakti Vikasaka practices, asanas, meditation, and relaxation techniques. So in the interest of time, I'll cover the practice just for the knees today, and we can have a separate session to cover the entire module if you're interested. But someone suffering from arthritis must do all the joints practices and follow the module as per the body conditions. Now, the reason for this is you want to channelize the energy in the entire body, improve the blood circulation, and keep all the joints healthy. So Shakti Vikasaka practices are the strengthening practices. Now they involve movements and have to be modified depending upon, again, the condition of the person. And a yoga therapist should be able to assist design a module for the patient. So the concept we are following in the yoga therapy module is stimulate and relax. Stimulate, focus, bring your awareness, stretch, and relax. This will allow it to heal. So joints loosening practices, which we will be now showing for the knees. Now these practices will not only help to reduce the stiffness, but will also prevent the further
release, squeeze, release, squeeze, release, squeeze, and release. After the practice, bring both your legs apart, take your hands at the back and drop your neck. Completely relax your knees after this stimulation.
Now this practice can be done 200 times in a day. So you can do 21 times at one time and then just keep repeating this multiple number of times. Now this helps to strengthen the quadricep muscles. At any time you feel the pain, again experience the pain, slow down, relax. Again continue, feel the gentle pain and relax. It will help to release the locked up energy as we had discussed before in the presentation. Also strengthening of the quadricep muscles. Moving on to the next practice, it is called knee bending practice. So we'll look at the video.
Now we'll look at knee bending practice. For the knee bending practice, interlock your hand, bring it underneath your thigh. Gently bring your knee to your chest. Keep your spine neutral. Inhale, stretch your leg forward. Try and keep your heel off the ground. Now as you exhale, bring your knee to your chest. Synchronize the movement with your breath. Inhale, stretching forward. Exhale, bringing your knee to your chest. Inhale, stretching forward. Exhale, knee to your chest. One more time, inhale. And exhale completely. Inhale and then gently releasing your hands. On the other side.
So I've just demonstrated on one side, but the same concept, we are stimulating and again relaxing. So you close the eyes throughout the practice, which will help to build an internal awareness, which is the key to release the tensions and the pain. Now, as at any time, again in this practice as well, because of the swelling, now I have been able to obviously make the joints move up till my chest. Certainly somebody who has the knee osteoarthritis will have a lot of difficulty. So you have to listen to your body when you're doing these practices. Just again, feel the pain anytime, whether it is with a little bit of a bending, then you just completely relax. Again, you're feeling the pain and relax. This will start helping in building the flexibility. Eventually, you can probably achieve the same like it's been in the video. So this practice can be done 10 times each side, and it can also be done again multiple times during the day. So moving on to the next practice, it is called Patella movement.
So patella.
We look at the video.
Get a good practice for the knee osteoarthritis. From
Now,
here,
this can also be done if you are
sitting
sitting on a chair. Again, stretch your leg.
Sitting
You
is
can again
difficult.
practice this to just get a
support from the wall as well. With your fingers, place it on your knee and moving the patella up and gently down. Up and down. Bringing movement up and down. Keeping your eyes closed. Up and down. From here, moving on to the other knee. Bringing your fingers to the left, up and down, up and down, up, down. Awareness to your knee joint, up and down. Release. From here, coming back to the right, we'll be moving the patella to the right side and then to the left. Keeping your eyes closed, right, left, right and left. Release. The left as well. Right, left. Continue. One more time. And release. Release. Place your arms back, legs apart. Drop your neck. Completely relax your knees.
Now for this,
Patella region.
again, relaxation is extremely important after the practice. Again, we have tried to stimulate, help in the circulation around the region, and then completely relaxing. If you feel the pain, come out of it. Again, listen to your body. Now, these practices that I have shown for three of these for the knees are like a painkiller, at least from the perspective of yoga, that it can be done multiple number of times during the day. It will help to release or give relief to the pain. Now, after this, I have prepared 2 asanas, which we'll go through as well, which are specially good for osteoarthritis. It is working on all the joints in the body. So the first practice is Setu Bandhasana, or the bridge pose.
Bend both your knees. Keep your hands by the side, palms facing down. As you inhale, lift your lower, middle and the upper part of your back. Exhale, bring it down. Keep your eyes closed, focusing on your breath. Inhale, lifting your lower, middle and the upper back. Exhale, bringing your upper, middle, lower down. One more time, inhale, lifting up. Exhale, bringing it down. And release, legs apart, hands apart, palms facing the ceiling.
So this practice can be done 5 times. And again, it can be done multiple times during the day. We are working on all the joints. It's the back. We are working on the knees, on our ankles, toes, and especially the abdominal muscles here. So it is helping us strengthen the abdominal muscles. Now, this is one of the key things also, especially for our knees. So if our abdominal muscles are not strong enough, the posture will be incorrect. So if you have an incorrect posture, what happens? The knee takes the brunt. The knees will, there will be wear and tear. There will be quick wear and tear of the knees as well. So strengthening of the abdominal muscles are equally important as well, which we can achieve through this practice. Now, again, I have demonstrated this whereby my back is being lifted up. But if you are able to lift up half an inch from the ground or even little bit, it is good enough. It still gives you the same amount of benefit, and with practice, it can go on improving. Now, moving on to the next, it is the straight leg raising practice. Now, this again, you can do it if you're on the chair or you're sitting. You can just stretch your leg. So I can just give you the instruction. So you inhale, you take your leg fully straight forward, and exhale, you bring it down. And we'll do this with alternate legs as well. So you can keep your eyes closed, and on the chair, you can just stretch your leg forward
Lifting
above
your
the
right
ground in
leg
the
up.
air.
Exhale, bring it down. Inhale, left leg up. Exhale, bring it down. Bring your awareness to your knees, to your legs. Right leg up as you inhale. Exhale down. Inhale, left leg up. Exhale down. One last round, inhale, lifting up. Exhale down. Left leg up. Exhale down. Can be done 5 times on each side.
So again, this practice, when we are lifting our legs up, working on our leg muscles, working on the knees, all the joints, and again on your abdominal muscles, it's helping to strengthen. So again, this is a good practice for arthritis. Now moving on to the next slide. So I've put together deep relaxation technique. Now this is a special technique which has been developed. It helps reduce the stress, takes away the muscle fatigue. Now we can do this if the time permits. I think we've already run out of quite a bit of time anyway in the presentation, but if time permits, we can do this practice. It'll take about 5 to 6 minutes.
Sure.
Sitting on the chair as well.
Sure. Go ahead.
So we'll do this towards the end so that I can close the session with that practice. So before that, I'll just go quickly through the some pranayam practice. So the next one is Kapalbhati. Now I want to actually talk about this especially. Now it is good for osteoarthritis. You can do this 1 time, 1 minute. Now what is Kapalbhati? It is nothing but forceful exhalation, passive inhalation. Now in India, we all know this. It's courtesy to Ramdev Baba that everybody in India understands what Kapalbhati is. However, I mention this specifically here because in therapy, like I had mentioned, we need to know all the other conditions of the person so that correct practices can be given. Now, a person, if he's suffering from high blood pressure, heart problem, vertigo, epilepsy, hernia, slip disc, spondylitis, should all avoid Kapalbhati practice. So practices are great, but we must understand what are the contraindications of each of the practices also. So now moving on to the next practice, which we will all do together. It is called sectional breathing. Now this is a correct form of breathing. Today with our fast lifestyle, we all breathe very shallow. We don't breathe till our stomach. Now when a baby is born, you will see that his or her abdominal muscles are rising up and down as he or she is breathing. Now that is the right type of breathing. You breathe up till your abdomen. You can do this experiment yourself at any point of time. We usually breathe up till here, which is to our clavicular region. So let us try to do this consciously, breathing till our abdominal region. And it is called part by part breathing. It is also a preparatory technique for the pranayam practices. So I've prepared a video and we can look at it all together. And you can practice this sitting on the chair as well.
Yogic breathing. So abdominal breathing, chest breathing, and clavicular breathing, all 3 together. So from here, we'll come into Brahma Mudra. So making a fist, placing it near your navel region. And as we inhale, we'll bulge our stomach out, lift our chest and our clavicular up. And as you exhale, clavicular down, chest down, abdominal muscles going in. So we'll do this together. Inhale.
I hope you're practicing together.
Again, inhale, bulging your stomach out. Lifting your chest, then your clavicular. Exhale, bringing your clavicular down, chest down, sucking your abdominal muscles in. One last time, inhale. And exhale. And release. This is also called sectional breathing. So part by part we are breathing. So first into our abdomen, taking it up to our thoracic or the chest. and then to our clavicular breathing. So it's called full yogic breathing.
So always in breathing, we must breathe through our nose and not through the mouth. Now this practice can be done 5 times. So we can do first the abdominal, then the chest, then the clavicular. And then we can combine all 3 together as well, like what I have demonstrated. It is also called a full yogic breathing. So now, moving on to the last, which is the pranayam practice. So we all know this, Anilom Vilom. It's a very good practice, extremely good to regulate our breathing. Now this practice can be done 12 times, 4 times in a day. When you wake up in the morning, you can do Anilom Vilom. Before lunch, before dinner, before going off to bed, this practice can be done. So I don't think I need to demonstrate this. I think we all know this. You all can come into Nasika Mudra. So let's do 1 round together. And from here, you can place your thumb on your right nostril. Exhale the balance air from your left. Now inhale from your left. Keep your facial muscles completely relaxed, no tension. And close your left. And then exhale the air from your right. Full exhalation. Now inhale from your right. Use your thumb, close your right nostril. Exhale from your left. So this is 1 round of Anilom Vilom, a very effective practice for all conditions. So some other practices are some cooling pranayams, Shitali, Sitkari, Sadanta. But again, in the interest of time, I'm going to skip all of these. The other practice which is extremely good is Nada Anusandhana, which is a meditation technique with some sound vibrations. The sound vibrations are like the Akara, Ukara, and Makara. And a combination of 3, which is A, U, Ma, making it the sound of Om. So now moving on to the next slide. So yoga helps osteoarthritis. What is yoga doing? It is delaying the aging, helping in the pain, managing the pain, strengthening of the muscles, supporting the joints, relieving stress. Mind is becoming calm. It is improving the quality of the sleep. It is helping to improve the flexibility and helping to manage weight. Now, so I can conclude now, make yoga a part of your daily life. Improve the quality of your life. Repeat the practices in a day. When the practices are repeated, the joints become more and more flexible. The muscles become strong. So practice with awareness. Remember, breathing is the connection between the mind and the body. So synchronize your movements with your breathing. And slow and steady wins the race. So do not rush. Do not push the limits of your elasticity. Listen to your body. While a good stretch is needed, but we must learn how to work with awareness. Gradually increase the stretch of the muscles and relax them deeply with awareness. So the last slide is prevention. We all know is definitely better than cure. So start early. Asana practices, joints loosening, if done regularly from a young age, can help to keep our joints healthy. So thank you so much. And we will be doing the deep relaxation technique after this. So I just want to end by saying that yoga is a way of life. Yoga is a healthy practice. Yoga is not an emergency relief system. So let us respect yoga side by side of the medical science and carry forward in our lives. So thank you so much for this time and the opportunity. And let us do this deep relaxation technique. So Dr. Das, I think it's already, yeah, so the time I'm not sure. So I want you to let me know if I have 5 or 6 minutes, maybe I will go through it.
Let's ask questions if anybody has any questions. I have one question.
Okay, sure.
So my question is, you said that in osteoarthritis, they had tried Hatha Yoga. And so what is the difference between Hatha Yoga and other types of yoga?
See, actually, in the ancient texts, it's actually the Hatha Yoga. What has happened over a period of time? Hatha is actually Ha and Tha. So that is again the sun and the moon that we actually say. So again, Hatha Yoga is the actual yogic practice that we have, which comes from the ancient science. Today, because there has been different or lineages of people who have practiced, like we have had, Iyengar. So we have something called Iyengar Yoga today. But it is actually still coming from the main text, which is the Hatha Yoga Pradipika. Now, Hatha Yoga is also, it's called the Ashtang Yoga as well. So it is the 8 limbs of yoga that we have. There are different, asanas and pranayam are 2 actually parts of it, but there are some other parts as well. So, I don't know what are the other types of yoga that you know. In Singapore, we have all types of yoga. We have aerial yoga, we have hot yoga, we have lots of other yoga. But actually, the traditional science or the ancient text that we have is actually the Hatha Yoga practice. And the techniques that I have mentioned are all from the same Hatha Yoga practices. So not going into any lineage of any particular master, it is from what comes from our books.
Okay. I think there is Dr. Shabir
So I don't know if
Chikani.
I've answered your question, Dr. Das. But again, if the screen has gone frozen,
My screen has gone frozen? No. So, unmute all. Dr. Shabir Chikani wanted to ask a question, and if anybody else wants to ask a question, most welcome. Shabir?
You have a nice presentation overview of yoga, but I believe that unless the modern science is married with these ancient practices and the proof is given, because in that Setu Bandhasana, if I am studying correctly, elderly lady with the say obesity class 3, having a weight of 85 kg, how can she lift her back? That is the question.
So the question is that he's saying if there is an obese lady, so how will she be able to lift her back?
Yeah, just give us a minute. Connecting again. I don't know what's happened to the connection. Just give us
Okay, sure. It seems Ruchika is again absent now. Can we switch off Ruchika's presentation? That's nice.
चल देते रहो शाबाश। लेकिन ये खाने को कि नहीं पूरी ले ली वो पूरी ले लेना। अरे मैं 6 पूरी पड़ी है बड़े अच्छे ले लेना ना बड़े अच्छी है सुबह में थोड़ा सामने पड़ी है
लग रही है पूरी का नाम मत लो।
वो रोटी खाता है चावल से उसको पूरी है क्या
अक्षय तुम्हारी आवाज लग रही है।
So I think my video is right now not on, but I have the audio on.
Okay. So, Ruchika, the question was if the person
I heard that.
Yeah.
So, rightly asked this question. It's a very appropriate question, and that's why I had mentioned during my presentation as well.
Sure.
On the condition, the practices have to be modified. If a person has a lot of weight and is not able to lift her back, practice that we will be giving. The most important practice that she can actually do are the joints loosening practices. Now, the joints loosening practices are very easy practices. Anybody, whether if you have obesity, can still do it. Any condition, it is okay to do it. And back to the module we had mentioned. So
I think the answer that was there to this was that do it as much as you can. There is no necessary to.
वहां से ऑन कर दे चाचा.
If you can raise your a little bit, that would be nice.
Sorry, Dr. Das, what was that?
I said even if you are not able to do complete exercise, even partial exercise is going to help.
Yeah, so, like he rightly said, it's not just the intensity. A lot of people, so when we look at people who have very weak back, will also not be able to lift it off the ground. So again, we have to work with the and even if the person can lift a little bit, it is fine. If that is also not achievable, not the only practice that we have.
Okay. Dr. Govind Rajan was wanting to ask a question. Mute everyone, and then everybody asking a question will unmute themselves. Govind Rajan. Okay,
Yes.
Dr. Govind Rajan was asking the effect of cat stretch on the joints. Will it be effective?
Effect of cat.
I don't know what this cat stretch is.
So I can.
Rajan is one of my oldest friends. I think we were in school together from class 6th, or maybe even earlier than that.
Okay. So I do understand it rightly. So the cat stretch is the practice. Practice for the back. In fact, it's an excellent practice for the back. Now, when you ask this question whether it's for osteoarthritis, yes, it is. Because again, for the knees, you can place your knees in all position, or when you put your knees in all position, the knees might be painful, and you put a lot of pressure on the knees.
बदल तो वो वाला लगा दो हरड़ वाला.
So again, it depends on the condition. If the person doesn't have any knee issues,
इस बदल पे
elsewhere, then yes, it will be a good practice.
Okay. So, Ruchika, thank you very much. And Vinita is asking another question.
Yes, sure.
Ruchika, can you take a session on yoga with pregnancy?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so we'll work on it.
Sure, absolutely.
Thank everyone for joining this meeting today. And we have had the highest attendance so far. And again, my request would be to all to improve the Society for Osteoarthritis Research, support the society, and we hope to do much better than what we have done so far. So far, everyone has appreciated the talk very much. Thank you, Ruchika, and thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Das. Now, I'm not sure if so many people are there, but they still have to do the deep relaxation technique. If not for anything, then get a good.
I think your voice is actually coming very scratchy.
In all biological organisms,
Because of the scratch, going ahead with this meeting at this point.
Mandas, if you can see.
Okay, thank you, Ruchika. Let's close the meeting. Okay. You are back. I can see that you are back on this, but going in with the deep relaxation technique.
Dr. Das, sorry, I think I'm having difficulty with my computer to be able to get my screen on. So I don't know if you can.
I think the best would be to stop right now here, and we can start again some other day.
Sure, okay, absolutely.
Okay? So with that, I thank everyone, and I thank Ruchika, and I hope everybody would give her a clap. Give her a clap. And thank you, Ruchika, very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Das, for inviting me.
I have learned a lot of things I didn't know. Petla like this here, there. You can do Petla yourself, applause, and things like that. Thank you very much. Thank you to have my patience.
Thank you very much, Dr. Das.
Thank
Thank you so much.
Very interesting.
Bye-bye.
Closing the meeting there.
Thank you.
जैसे जैसे टाइम गुजरेगा वैसे वैसे आदमी केयरलेस होगा। ये हुआ था जो पैंडेमिक हुआ था ना, जो स्पेनिश फ्लू हुआ था, उसमें जो मैक्सिमम जो कैजुअलिटी हुई थी वो लास्ट 6 मंथ में 2 साल चला था। मेरा खुद का सोचना है कि बेटा ये 1 आध साल चलेगा, ये अभी खत्म नहीं होने वाला। Only thing you have to live with it. वैसी भीड़